Guys, it's Mike from Mike's Rockin' Relics, and it's a rainy old day here at the cabin today, but I wanted to take a minute and talk about the next artist in our rock and roll history series. And today we're going to talk about Charley Patton. And if you don't know Charley Patton, this is a guy that is super important in the development of the Mississippi Delta blues and influenced the likes of Son House and Robert Johnson and people like that. So this is a guy you should know about. But his recordings are hard to find. I'm going to show you a rare record that I picked up fairly recently that is a great compilation and an example of what his work sounded like. So stay tuned. Well, Charley Patton was only in his mid-40s when he died in 1934, and he'd only been recorded on 4 occasions, but he does remain one of the giants of the Mississippi Delta blues and kind of one of the creators of the genre. He certainly helped make it more popular and added some playing techniques that were used by many other musicians of the era. He had a certain spiritual imagery with his music that allowed him to create some of the most resonant country blues material ever recorded. And he's a unique performer, instantly recognizable as a singer, and he's just been kind of one of those first Delta blues players to really be called the first rock and roller. Patton's father was a preacher, and Charley grew up as one of 12 children on a farm in the Mississippi Delta. When he was young, he moved to Will Dockery's plantation and learned to play guitar around the 1908-1910 period, and around when he was about age 19. And it's been said that Patton was the first great Delta bluesman, and it's sort of the spot from which that distinctive style flowed. And he had a very individual style of playing, extremely rampant and raw, yet rhythmic too. His vocal delivery was often hoarse, more of a holler than singing, which made him sometimes difficult to comprehend, as well as his accent. He was also one of the first men to establish and develop the slide guitar sound. Patton is also one of the first blues players to start to live the rock and roll lifestyle. And not only did he play the blues, he lived it too. He was imprisoned, he drank heavily, he had 8 wives, he traveled extensively, and he didn't play the blues in a somber, laid-back fashion. He was a consummate showman. He would often play his guitar behind his neck and between his legs. It's not exactly certain who taught Patton how to play blues, but certainly one of the first that would have showed him guitar and shown him things on the guitar was a blues player by the name of Henry Sloan. It's kind of uncertain what he learned from Sloan because Sloan never recorded, and so we don't know what his style sounded like, but there's been a lot of comparisons over the years between the two. By the time he was in his mid-20s, Patton was playing picnics, juke joints, house parties, levee camps. His friend Willie Brown often accompanied him, and the two of them probably put on one of the first big blues shows of the era. And despite his size, at only 5'5", Patton had a big voice, which could carry more than 500 yards when performed outside, some said. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you're a big fan of rock and roll and you like records, guitars, and stories about rock and roll, be sure to give us a like and subscribe and ring that bell. It helps us to grow the channel and keep more stuff coming. Thanks a lot. He was discovered when he was 40, if you can believe that, by a Mississippi music store owner and a part-time record company scout. And he was recorded for Paramount. And in June of 1929, he recorded 14 sides on that occasion alone, and probably the cream of his extensive repertoire at the time. The first record that Paramount released was Pony Blues, coupled by Banty Rooster Blues, and established Patton's reputation. Recording on various labels between 1929 and the early 1930s, Patton started to have a sound that was uniquely his own and started to influence many other blues performers of the era. Like a lot of blues players, the Great Depression stopped any recordings for the foreseeable future, and Patton didn't record again until 1934. But over that three-day period in 1934, he recorded 25 more sides and only 10 were actually issued. So after literally years of looking for this record, I did track this down, and this is a great Charley Patton compilation, founder of the Delta Blues. It's on the Yazoo label. This came out in the 1970s. It's a double album, gatefold. There's the back. Fantastic stuff. And what I love about this is inside it's got liner notes and lyrics. So it's got the lyrics to every song, but it's also got information about Patton and the various songs on this record. Really well done, great package, and the records are just awesome on this. They're mint. So I was really happy to finally track this one down. It's not an easy one to find. It's not cheap, but really is a definitive collection of his best material, and one I'd certainly encourage you to go out and find and explore. If you're not into this early stuff, or you haven't heard this early Mississippi Delta blues, it can take a little while at first to get into it, but I think once you discover the honesty and the simplicity of what's going on there, and some of the guitar work is absolutely genius. So many players that were just untaught and did their own thing. A lot of Charley Patton stuff was played on his lap with a slide, and just a lot of syncopation. And the Delta blues is known for those bass notes, keeping that steady beat with the non-syncopated treble notes or voice over top of it. And it's really hard to play, really hard to do, and this guy was one of the best, and as I said at the beginning, influenced so many other blues players. So check out this record if you can find it. It's a really good one, and I hope you enjoyed that look at Charley Patton, the founder of the Delta Blues.